Hi, it's Matt from tracermac.co.uk, and here I have the Nokia N85. I'm going to do a quick unbox and have a look around the device before we go on, and we're going to be writing our review. So, N85 sitting directly on top, looking kind of similar to the N96 we looked at recently, slightly larger, but a certainly similar design cues there. Have a look at that in more detail in just a second. Have the battery next to that, which is a 1200 milliamp hour battery. Underneath, have a nice range of accessories here, so let's just take those one at a time. We have media controls or headset. So on here we have media controls, play, stop, rewind, skip tracks and everything else, and a button that answers and releases your calls. Hold switch on the side and volume control on this side. Little connector clip that you can clip this onto your clothing, and then a socket on the top for a standard 3.5mm jack, so you can use any old headphones there. There's a little tiny hole there which is a microphone, so this is an inline microphone. On the other end there's a standard 4-pole 3.5mm jack that plugs into the into the phone itself. Then we have some headphones, which I'll just unpack here. And headphones have a standard 3.5mm jack on one end, so it plugs into obviously that connector there. And then we have headphones on the other end, quite small and quite lightweight. These are sort of in-ear style headphones. So you can use these headphones that come with it, or you can use any of your own headphones, as they are a standard 3.5mm jack. And I think you can actually just plug these straight into the phone itself if you want, if you don't want the inline microphone. So that's quite a nice idea. Then we have the USB cable, so USB to micro USB, so that we can sync, charge and download and upload media and everything from the phone itself. Then we get this Nokia cable, which allows us to plug the 4-pole 3.5mm jack into the phone and then plug the phone into a TV. So we've got composite video and left and right audio, so you can actually watch the media that you've got or you've recorded on the N85 on a large screen, which is quite cool. We then have a charger. Now, slightly unusual departure here for Nokia. It's a little bit different. Normally the charger is sort of a small bullet style connector rather than a large cable that we've got here, and it's using here the micro USB. So that's unusual for Nokia, quite surprised at that. Then at the bottom, as I always say, it's kind of the boring stuff. We have the software on DVD. We have getting started guide and engage music store, all that sort of stuff. We have like very basic getting started, which is very thin, so if you want to read anything, I guess you're probably going to read that first. And then we have the manual itself, which is kind of the full manual, but again, it's not ever such heavy going. So just pop all that to one side. So N85 itself, QVGA display on the front, which is a 2.6 inch, 240 by 320 pixels. Forward facing VGA camera, should you want to do video conferencing and that sort of stuff. Underneath the screen, we've got red and green phone keys for send and end, then a D-pad sort of navigator with a push button in the centre, and push button there that brings up like media and stuff like that. Very shiny on the front there, as you can see there, and so this area is going to get quite sort of grubby with fingerprints, I'm sure. It's sort of like a piano black, I guess you'd call that. Looking around, we have connector on the top, which is the micro USB, 3.5mm jack, and then the power button. No lock switch on the top, which is interesting. A lot of the Nokia media sort of devices now are actually having like a lock switch on top. This doesn't have that. On the side, we have micro SD card, and it actually does have a 8GB micro SD card included. That just pops in the side there. That's hot swappable, you don't have to obviously shut down. Nothing along this side. Here we have the lock switch that is on the top with most devices and is now on the side. Up and down, volume control on a rocker, and a dedicated camera button. And there are 2 loudspeakers just at either end. On the back we have a 5MP Coles Zeiss camera with a lens cover there, which is quite cool. Lens cover stops dust and debris getting on the lens when you're not using it, so you don't have to keep wiping it when you want to use it. Then we have dual flash It looks like to be LED flash. Back cover pops off. Let's just pop the battery in. Our SIM card just pops in this area here, and the battery goes in like so, and the back cover pops back on. It's not black on the back, it's sort of almost sort of grey, chocolatey, I don't know, greyish brown I guess, and it's almost metallic finish, which is quite nice. It's nice to be not just black, I guess. And just power on. That's why we wait for that to turn on. We have a slide here so that we can reveal the numeric keys. Again, they're quite small and they're quite close together, and they are again very flat, which is typical of Nokia at the moment. All of their phones seem to be having this style of keypad. If you've got large fingers, there we go. If you've got large fingers, you might actually struggle with this keypad, and that is a criticism that some are making, and how close the top row of keys is to the actual bottom of that screen there. So that's something to consider if you've got big hands, I guess. And pushing it the other way, we do actually have media control buttons along the side, so if you got it open up like so, you can actually use the buttons down the side for your media controls, rather than doing stuff via D-pad and on screen and everything else. So it's just asking me to set up and say that we're in the UK. I'm nearest to London, I am at Edinburgh, and I'll just OK on all of that stuff. Okay, so we have a standard S60 style, Nokia style interface there. It's S60 3rd edition, Picture Pack 2 OS. I don't really want to run through the welcome guide. It is an OLED display as well, so that's quite nice. It's actually quite bright and has a certain warmth, richness to it. That's just quite cool. Running down the rest of the spec, the phone's main memory is 74 meg, and there's 78 meg of flash memory. As I say, quarter VGA display, 2.6 inch diagonal. There is wireless LAN 802.11b and G, Bluetooth 2 with EDR. It's quad band for GSM, so 850, 900, 1800 and 1900. Supports GPRS, Edge and HSDPA. And interestingly is tri-band for HSDPA or 3G, so 900, 1900 and 2100 bands for 3G. Has built-in GPS, which is a GPS, 5 megapixel camera as we mentioned on the back there. 1200 milliamp hour battery, which is good for 400 hours of standby time. And we do support geotagging with the GPS and the built-in 5 megapixel camera. And we also weigh only 128 grams, which is pretty lightweight. So we're going to be looking at the N85 over the next week or so, and the review will be online soon.